Welcome back, my people. This is yet again David on another Sin City Crypto PM stream where we only focus on the FATA, the fundamental analysis, technical analysis. I don't like that word. If you guys can come up with like a cool name for the show, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, charting, metrics, data, information, let me know. I'm open to suggestions. And if you come up with a good one and I start using it, I'll send you $100 in USDC. So big shout out to all of you for joining me today. Interesting day in the markets. I'm just going to pull up a post here and, I forget who was it? J Chains that posted something. Let me pull this up and I'll kind of share. It was actually pretty funny. Let's see. Where did you post this, J Chains? No. Oh yeah, here we go. He said, sheesh, we all expected a little retracement today, but damn, why are we giving back all the gains? To which I said, it was a borrower's rally. We had to give it back. All jokes aside, I don't know about you guys. I was very, very surprised that we literally gave back. I mean, I'll swap over to the daily. We literally gave back everything we took plus some, right? Yesterday's 2 days ago, because we just started a new candle. 2 days ago, we opened at 86,031. Yesterday's candle, we closed at 86,160. So almost everything. We gave it all back. We said, here we go. Thanks for the pump. We enjoyed it. We had a lot of indicators here that was going to be an actual reversal. We did expect a little bit of resistance right around 92.5. We blew through that. And then on the way down, I thought we were definitely going to catch some support, which we did, right? If you zoom out to the 4 hour, this level here, 92.5, we came in, we actually closed, we opened this candle at 93.5 and we closed at 94.2. All right, great. Then the next 4 hour candle, 92.697 was our close. Like, all right, great. And the very next one, cool. I'll take that too. To me, we're gearing up for a potential bull flag, rally to the upside. And then it was just massacre, right? You see these hollowed out candles. That means that these were large liquidation candles on the 4 hour. We zoom into the hourly. You can see a little bit of a Bart Simpson there, right? Breaking to the downside. But the good news here is we've caught some support right around 86 to 86.5 for Bitcoin, of course. And so we had this initial breakout of this inverse head and shoulders. We had a nice move to the upside. Now, again, to Jay Chains' point, I, along with him, and I don't know about you guys, let me know in the chat, I was expecting a pullback, right? You don't see a massive rally like this. Now, of course, it's on the 1 hour without some sort of pullback. I expected that pullback to land at 92.5, and I was waiting to see what price was doing before entering into a potential long. And now I didn't enter into the long. I did enter into a long at 86,450. That's where I entered my long. So I'm currently underwater. But I believe this level is going to hold. As you can see here, it has been holding. The one thing that I'm worried about in the lower time frame is a potential bear flag pattern that could break to the downside. The next level I'm looking at for BTC to catch some support would be 85K flat. Now, this is on the lower time frame. Let's go to the higher time frame. It is a flame. Everything kind of crashed and burned today. But it's okay because these are all great buying opportunities. Another thing I wanted to point out before I zoom into the 4 hour is we had this beautiful bullish divergence on the 1 hour that actually ended up playing out, right? We're making lower lows on the price action. We're making higher lows on the RSI. And we broke to the upside. We got that big move, and then we kind of gave it all back, and this obviously doesn't hold any weight anymore. So going back to the 4 hour chart here on BTC, if 86K does not hold, then really the next level you're looking at is 84 flat. Okay, and this is just eyeballing what happened to price. Let's change the color on this one. Let's go light green on this one. So this level here, again, 84,125, that would be the next level that I'd be looking for at a potential long. But I'll be honest with you guys. If this long does not play out, and my stop loss, I believe, is right underneath 84. I think it's like 83.95. That is where my stop loss is on my long here for BTC. If we break below that, I gotta have to reassess the market, reassess the structure of the chart. We were there, right? We took out two important highs. We took out the high here at 86.4. We took out the high on 89.2. Again, this happened literally in essentially one daily candle. It happened in one daily candle, and we gave it all back. Not something I was expecting, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but we move, we adjust, and we move forward, right? And so 84K would be the next level if 86 gives, which currently we're trading at 85,929. Now, don't be surprised, my friends, if we get some chop between 85 and 86.5. For how long? I don't know. Could it be a few days? Sure. I don't see it happening more than a week. You go to the higher time frames, you go to the weekly. This is a beautiful setup for a reversal candle here, right? You had this long-tailed hammer that signified it on the bottom of a downtrend. So this signified a reversal. Now, we still can get a reversal. I've seen plenty. I don't have an example here to show you, but I've seen plenty of examples where we see a large hammer candle or a reversal candle, and then the very next candle prints another red, right? Goes, or whether it's green or red, goes against the direction many people are expecting. And then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, everything just starts to rally, and then this candle turns into another long-tailed doji candle or hammer candle, and then we reverse to the upside. Are we going to see that now? I don't know. If I were to place a bet on either side, I think we get a small rally into this 92.4 region. And then leading up to Friday, I really think it's a few things. One, the Bybit hack, they saw a lot of BTC kind of compounded on top of each other. Two, you have people trying to front run the narrative. Three, the bullish narrative of Friday. We saw that with the announcement and the big rally in BTC. Three, I think macro is scaring the shit out of everyone. We saw the forecast for the GDP numbers. That was not very good. People were expecting a growth in the GDP numbers. So here's one thing to remember, though. I want to remind you guys, you're going to see GDP numbers. They're going to be more amplified. One key metric that goes into the GDP and how they calculate the percentage is government spending. So if you have higher government spending, that has an impact on the overall GDP percentage. It's government spending, net investment, consumer spending, and then net export. You add all that together, and that's how they create their formula for GDP. So keep that in mind. With Doge and the cost cutting, we could see potentially GDP start to get lower as government spending draws down, and that doesn't have nearly as big of an impact as it typically does. Just going to peep into the chat here, see how you guys are doing. Hero Hotep, what's going on, brother? He said historical 30% Bitcoin first quarter of the year. I was trying to pull up the Bitcoin, monthly historical chart here from, where did you go? Bitcoin returns here from CoinGlass, right? Let's take a look at this. So this is Bitcoin monthly. And this was the 3rd February ever since these numbers were tracked, going back to 2013, where we saw a red February. Even during bear markets, we've seen green Februaries like 2018, like 2022, and so on and so forth. And so the last one we had was right around COVID. If you remove COVID, because who knows, 2020, we were starting to rally. Right? You see 34% gains in the month of April, 24. Now, I know some of this has to do with the relief rally and the money printing and people getting stimulus checks, but you remove this because of an event that no one saw coming that obviously had an impact on the market. It's only the 2nd February we've ever seen red. And so we always joke about this time is different, but it sure hell looks like this time is different. Also, for ETH, Q1 has historically been the best performing quarter for Ethereum, averaging around 78.5%. This was only the 3rd quarter since 2017 that we've seen red, the 2nd worst of all time. And then for BTC, we've had plenty of red Q1s, but typically during bull markets, we don't necessarily get red in Q1s. You look at 2021, Q1, we saw a gain of 103%. The bull market of 2017, you see Q1 12% in the green. And then, so yeah, interesting. This time definitely is different, driven more by Wall Street. And so Bitcoin is going to, price action is going to look a little different. But again, we adjust and we move forward. All right. I was going to say hello to some few people. George, what's going on, brother? Love that name. That was my father's name. Rest his soul. Breezy, what's up, brother? R.I.P. Gains. Yesterday's gains, R.I.P. But, I actually wanted to share this. So if you guys don't know, we have a Patreon. And shout out to all of you that are part of our Patreon. But I put this post up on, when was this? This was a week ago. And so I just kind of told our Patreon members what I was buying. And so I had bought Algorand at 22 cents, Hedera at 19 cents, which is still in the green, Cardano at 67 cents, still in the green, XRP at $2.26, still in the green. We also post a lot of trades, write-ups, videos. We also have a Discord. So if you're not part of our Patreon, I highly encourage you to do so. You'll be supporting the channel. You get a lot of great info that not everyone gets on social media and on YouTube. Also, excited to announce we just paid winner number 2 for week 2. They got $300 dropped into their USDT wallet on Buy DeFi. And this is what the leaderboard looks like for this upcoming week. So Monday, again, a week from today, we'll be giving away another $300 to the highest ROI trader to keep it an even playing field. Highest ROI trader. The only thing you need to have is 100K in trading volume, which really is like nothing if you're an avid trader. And so right now, Max the Bear is currently leading with 34%. I'm not trying to put Max the Bear on blast here, but I remember checking this and he was like negative 40%. This is when the markets were tanking. The entire leaderboard was in the red. Was negative. And so things can change. All it takes is one trade. And so if you're not signed up yet, click the link in the description, sign up with that code, with that link, and then you'll automatically be included in the trading competition. Also on today's show, we're going to look at some inflows. We're going to take a look at some metrics on chain. We'll take a look at some treasuries. Interesting. Also, open interest. This is an interesting chart by Banker. We'll go over that. And then also CME. What is the CME futures telling us? We did create another CME gap on BTC. I think I still have it in here. Scroll to the bottom. Bitcoin. Here we go. Bitty bomb. All right, so we'll go to the day, and you can see, if you're not familiar with what people say when they talk about the gap. So we know Bitcoin trades 24/7, but the CME does not. So when the markets reopen and Bitcoin's price has moved far away from its last close, then you have what's called a gap. All right, people refer to it as a CME gap. And if you've been trading in stock market or anything outside of crypto for a while that doesn't trade 24/7, you get gaps all the time. And gaps typically tend to fill. Now, this gap lives between 84,950 and 86,270. So we're not too far off from actually closing that gap. A lot of people worried the last CME gap was here. Last CME gap was back in November of last year, where Bitcoin moved from 77.3 to 81,240. And as we started grinding higher and higher, people were worried, like, oh, gaps typically fill. That's a pretty big dip down to the low 80s, even in the high 70s. And we essentially filled that gap sans like $2,000, right? So that gap was again at 77.4, and we got on a wick 78.6. So we essentially closed that gap. Now the next gap, again, we're not too far off from current prices. And you're looking at a $1,000 move down to close this gap. So that's something that I wouldn't even be worried about. I don't even think about that. I don't even really pay attention to the CME gap as much on BTC as I used to do in stocks and trading in the stock market. But either way, interesting times. Taking a look at the rest of the markets here. I'm going to refresh this page really quick. Also, if you're new here, say hello. I'd love to give you a shout out. So I'll take a sip of my energy drink. All right. ETH beat down 13.82%. ETH's rally was pretty lame, right? It had a 13% rally. Now, given that it's a $300 billion asset, it's a pretty good rally. But compared to what Solana did, 26%. what Cardano did, around 70%. ETH gave it all back plus some, and it came back into this value area that we identified between 1929 and 2264. Unless you're in the Robin camp and you believe ETH is dead, I'm not in that camp. What a great time to pick up ETH, right? Feel like the ETH Foundation, Vitalik, they're really starting to feel some heat from the competitors, from the community. And so what we're seeing on ETH here, outside of this, and let me go ahead and hide this. Outside of this, you know, let's flash this up here. So we're negative on every single time frame, including the weekly. We're trading well below our MA ribbon, our 200-day MA ribbon, on the daily, on the lower time frames as well. And so immediately you can see what price has done right at our 200-day moving average ribbon. Its price is knocked up against it and consolidated right in the area, right? You're talking about $2,830 for your close. Excuse me, your open, your close, and then your low, your high, and your close. My apologies. So on the low, you're looking at 2840. High is 3,000, and our close is going to be 2920 for ETH. And so on the way up, when we do get that reversal, expect to see some resistance right at that 29, at least, the very least, the lower level here, which is going to be $2,850 for Ethereum. But ETH's chart, I mean, it just, you go to the higher time frames and, you know, I mean, if this, we got 5 days left. Now, we haven't closed below our low band, okay? And sure, you can call this a close below, but essentially it was a consolidation. We haven't had that really since, I mean, 2022 during the bear market. And this is on the weekly time frame. And so, I mean, for ETH, at least on the higher time frames, if this candle closes below 2272, that would not be good. We'd probably heading closer to that $1,800 mark, $1,600 to $1,800 for ETH, which at 2,200, 2,100, I find it a very good value. At 1,800, it would definitely be a great value for Ethereum. But you look at the ETH versus Bitcoin chart, this probably is like the ugliest chart in crypto, at least versus Bitcoin. Just 4 years, almost 4 years of just taking an absolute beating against Bitcoin. You're looking at 74% in a span of almost 4 years. If you were in ETH versus Bitcoin, you would have lost 78% of your value in your portfolio. And so, I mean, it's easy to dunk on ETH right now, price action wise. It just needs, I'm happy to see they're more outspoken, talking about trying to push upgrades through. That's why we talk about competition being super, super important. We also had a failed pattern here on ETH. We had this inverse head and shoulders here on ETH versus BTC. We should have broke above that neckline, but we didn't. And so, again, TA-wise, ETH not looking good. But when you zoom out, you look at the ecosystem and everything else. You guys got to remember, too, with proof of stake, ETH becomes, if usage is high, it becomes deflationary. If usage is not high, it becomes inflationary. So more tokens are being minted and paid out to the validator. So ETH technically has no capped supply. And so if people stop using it and the emissions remain the same, we're just going to see price grinding downwards. So the bet here is that people are going to continue to use ETH. Institutions are going to build on Ethereum, right? You have the whole stock exchange down in Texas being built partly on Ethereum. You have a lot of the institutional side money pouring into Ethereum. You have the ETFs, obviously. And so that's what I'm betting on for ETH. And sure, it might not be the retail-friendly chain now, but at the end of the day, it is what the institutions are choosing. And until that changes, I cannot, not be bullish on ETH. Nedim Myra said, I'm not finished DCing any cheap coins. Yeah. Jim Bean said, will Hedera make it to the reserve? Maybe. I mean, it makes sense for it to do it. X2 said, Hedera, blue cheese. Hello, I love blue cheese. Maytag blue cheese, my favorite. Eugene said, how's the monthly gap look? Has that closed? The monthly gap. You're talking about the CME? Pretty much has closed. If you're talking about the 76 to 78K, yeah, that's pretty much closed. Just off by a little bit. Khalid said AIXBT by Virtuals. I am super bullish on AIXBT. That is one of the few coins I did not trim. I mean, I took profits, but I didn't trim any position size. I'm talking about nominal dollar value. I did not shave any position size. So I'm pretty bullish on that. All right, let's get into some metrics. Let's start with money flow. So it's over the last 1 day, net inflows. We saw Wrap Bitcoin, BNB, and BTC see the highest inflows. Bitcoin saw 34 million. BNB saw around 3.6 million of inflows. And then outflows, Solana saw 147 million flow out of the network. Majority went to stables or fiat, but we did see some go to ETH. XRP saw $207 million flow out of their ecosystem network and flow into all stable coins or fiat dollars. So essentially, your biggest gainer saw the biggest outflows. ADA came in at number 2 at 100, or number 3 at $121 million worth of outflows. Let's talk about some net flows here. So token net flows, interesting. So you have an AI agent coin here. No idea what the hell this is. And then you got Kronos. Kronos saw close to $100,000 of net inflows over the last 24 hours. And then you had some Avalanche ecosystem plays like Trader Joe, which is their DEX. And of course, AVAX. I'm not sure what the SQD is. No idea. But Kronos is an interesting one. Let's go to the Kronos chart. So a bet on Kronos to me is a bet on crypto.com. Although they don't have a thriving, and when I say thriving, I mean, think Solana, think ETH, tons of dApps, tons of liquidity. They don't have that yet in the Kronos ecosystem. So if you're betting now on Crow, you're betting on crypto.com, and you're also betting on them continuing to support the ecosystem and the growth. As I'm trying to continuously talk and look for this damn ticker, I'm done looking. I'm going to just pull it up here. Kronos, crypto.com. Here we go. What are some levels? Now, we identified 2 value areas for Kronos, and we're at one of them now. This is at 7.5 cents for Kronos. And let me drop a flag here so you guys can see that. So 7.185 cents, and we're currently at 7.5 cents, okay? And you see how price, this has been and this is on the daily. This is on the daily. Take a look at every single time price has came down, even during this massive drawdown where we saw Kronos, where's my measure tool? Where we saw Kronos go from 17.2 cents, it drew down 60% and it caught support right at the upper end of this rectangle here, which is 7.185 cents. We grinded down, trended down. We tapped this a few times, essentially created a, what is this? A 1, 2, 3, 4, a quadruple bottom from August to October of last year. And then everything just skyrocketed, right? Kronos went from 7.5 cents to a new local high, which was 22.74 cents. And you're seeing something similar like you saw here, okay? And actually, let's measure this. Let's measure this because I'm curious, okay? We're going to go measure time and day from high to low. 60% drawdown that spanned 243 days. Let's do the same thing here. From high to low. 86 days, a 70% drawdown. From wick to wick for Kronos. And so could we see potentially more? I mean, if you do the math here, this lasted 243 days. This one, you're barely at 3 months. I don't think, now this again happened right when Bitcoin topped, that initial top, and then everything was chopping sideways. Bitcoin was $60,000 to $70,000 for 9 months. Alts were bleeding. Sharp drawdowns, consolidation, sharp drawdowns, consolidation. And again, this lasted for at least for Kronos for 243 days. And so I wouldn't focus on the time, but look at the drawdowns, right? 70% drawdown, came back, is currently trading at that level where we saw that big bounce from Kronos from current levels up to its local high of 23, call it 23.1 cents. And so could we be seeing something similar? Let's zoom out to the 1 hour. Let's take a peek at what we're seeing here on the 1 hour. Let's go. Let's throw our S&R levels on. Let's also throw on our EMA band on the 1 hour. I'm trying to get a reclaim here. Okay, so bullish breakout. We were catching support and we're actually consolidating right around this area here for Chronos. And so again, these 200-day moving averages, I like using the ribbons because it gives me more of an area versus a single price, because price will fluctuate, right? It's not going to hit the exact number that you expected every single time. So I like to use either bands, or I like to use channels, or rectangles, stuff like that. Kind of give me a zone versus a specific price. And you have tons of support. You have confluence on the 1 hour, the 1 day, and the 4 hour, right around 7.214 cents. And so again, just look at historically what price does at these levels, right? Even when you get a small deviation down to your 6.8 cent level, we saw an immediate relief rally where Chronos rallied from 6.8 cents up to around 10 cents. And so again, whether it's trading, whether it's accumulating, or whether it's adding to your bags or opening new positions, you want to focus on key areas of support, key value areas, and then go back and see what price has done historically at those levels. And again, historically at these levels for Chronos, 7.2 cents, you're not too far off. You're not too far off. So what I think is personally going to happen in the markets overall, I think we're going to see a little bit of consolidation. We'll see small spurts to the upside, small flushes to the downside. I don't think Bitcoin's crossing under 80K, at least for the immediate future. Can we get a wick down there? Sure. But spending any amount of time under 80K, I think those days are gone. Friday's coming up. And the same with altcoins. Same thing, except the moves to the upside and to the downside are going to be a lot more, I don't want to say violent, but they'll be more pronounced. Instead of getting a 2 to 3% deviation to the upside or downside, you'll get 8 to 12%. You'll get random rallies out of altcoins. One, you're like, what the hell's going on? Why is this thing rallying? And then the rest will kind of just trend down, find their support levels, start consolidating, which is what you want to see for sustained rallies, right? We talk about consolidation being extremely important. And why? Because this is what you don't want to see, right? You don't want to see the price have a violent move to the upside and then give back everything it gave. There's no strength in that. What you'd like to see is stair-step moves to the upside. I mean, look at every sustained rally that Bitcoin has. This, by the way, was a 10% candle that closed green. Let's zoom out and look at when Bitcoin broke out of its 70K channel, how price reacted. We saw a 9% move, consolidation, 5% move, 10% move, consolidation, but still making higher lows, making higher highs. Then we saw little rallies, consolidation, rallies, right? Drop pullbacks. And now it's just everything's moving fast. And so for a sustained rally, right, for me to be sold on, okay, we've cleared these levels, I want to see smaller moves to the upside, take out one high at a time, right? Methodical. I know the market's not going to do that, right? Market rarely does what you want it to do. But for a sustained rally, that's what you want to see, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to see big rallies to the upside and everything is going to be taken back. And we didn't see, I mean, we saw decent volume yesterday. This was around 3150, 3.15K in volume in Bitcoin terms, right? When we saw those massive rallies, 6,700 Bitcoin, 7,300 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin. So volume's the other thing you want to take a look at, whether is this a real rally or is this just a bull trap or a bear trap? All right. Let's take a look. So taking a peek at the chat. ETH still has gas fee issues. It sure does. It sure does. I hope it's sneak. Okay, I think I already talked about that. H-bar is my favorite. Big mover holding strong. I'm also a big fan of H-bar. Cross a black swan happening because of an unburned 70 billion proposal. Where's Rob? Not here. Chronos minimum $1. I think Chronos gets to $1. Yeah, I really do. Poman said, what's up, Dave? What's up, brother? How you doing? You can call it whatever you want, but this is a crash and the only people making money are the pros. Sure, you can say that about anything though, right? You can say that about anything. And so it's all about what your strategy is and whether you have a strategy in place before stuff like this happens, right? Dave's daily report. No, I don't like this. I appreciate it hurts, but it's a little too mundane, you know. Gotta have something exciting. You know, we're Sin City, baby. Las Vegas. Gotta make it exciting. About $700 worth of H-bar, and it's been a black hole along with everything else. Look, just to prove a point to you, dude, okay? Let's hide everything. And sorry, my kids are home. My wife's not, so I thought I heard my daughter speaking to someone. Anyways, let's say you came in and your name is the Prepared Californian, okay? Mr. Californian, let's say you came in on the exact day of the top. You bought Bitcoin on November 10th, 2021, and you bought it at its high of $69,000 even. You sat there, you didn't sell, and you watched your portfolio go down from $69,000 to $16,000. Guess what, my friend? So from November 10th of 2021, officially on March 8th of 2024, you would have been back in the green. So in 2.5 years, if you wouldn't have sold, you would have been in the green. Now, from where you bought it to the all-time high, you would have still made 60%. And so the lesson here is with crypto, Bitcoin, and I want to remind everyone, one thing I want to remind you guys, don't be fooled by the stock market. We see 50, 60, 70% drawdowns in Bitcoin, in crypto. I guarantee you, if the Federal Reserve, the Treasury Department, and the United States government didn't intervene in the markets, and when we see a 15% drawdown or an 8% drawdown or something happens where they don't inject capital into the markets, they don't, interest rates going down, the quantitative easing, everything that props up risk assets, if the stock market did not have that to fall back on, I promise you, we would be seeing the same exact price action. And so the thought of, oh, it's too volatile, and that's the reason I don't invest, that's a load of crap. Bitcoin is 24/7, whether it's a day that there's no traders, whether it's a day, a holiday, bank holiday, does not matter. Friday, Saturday, your mom's birthday, it does not matter. The markets are 24/7. And there's no backstops. There's no federal FDIC. There's no Federal Reserve that'll come in and inject liquidity into your markets. There is no Fed that is putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet to help prop up a certain company or the mortgage sector or the stocks or the bonds or anything like that. It is a truly free-flowing market. And so what happens is things get overheated. They get overvalued. Bubbles are created and the bubble pops. But instead of it going down 20% and you have a backstop in the Fed or the government, it keeps falling until the natural ebbs and flows of the market look at the prices and say, okay, now we feel like it's undervalued. So they start bidding it up again. It goes up. A bubble forms, whether it's in certain sectors or the market as a whole. And then the bubble pops and it's just rinse and repeat. And you see the same thing in the stock market. Again, if it wasn't for those factors outside of just traders, ebbs and flows of the market, you see the same exact thing. And so even if you bought the top at $190,000, you will be in the money as long as you don't sell. Now, obviously, if something fundamentally changes to Bitcoin, the network, sure, that's different. But it's been well over 10 years, my friends, well over 10 years. And at any point in any cycle, you pick the cycle, the price, and if you bought the exact top on the exact day, today you are guaranteed to be in the profit. So expand your time horizon, and if you don't sell, if you're in the water and you don't panic sell and you sell into fear, you're gonna make money. So yeah, I kind of hope that helps. I don't even think that was a question, but either way. Also, guys, make sure to hit the like button. Appreciate it. Said I buy cryptos and precious metals, and the precious metals have just gone up, and when they go down, they don't crash. Yeah, but you don't get 80% moves in a year from gold. right? Bitcoin versus gold. Gold was, you know what? Let's play this game here. Gold futures. Okay. That's not gold futures. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking for. There we go. So here's your gold chart. Okay. You're talking about precious metals. Here's your gold chart. This is on the daily. This is going back to 2017. Okay. $2,800. How gold from 2022 has gone up 82%. Bitcoin in the same time frame, 2022, from $16,000 to $110,000 has gone up 900%. And so I'm not saying having gold is bad. Don't have precious metals. I think you should have both. I think you should have a well-diversified portfolio. But with risk comes higher reward. So if you're okay with 2-3% gains a year, cool, man. Stick your money in the S&P 500. Stick your money in gold and silver. You'll definitely won't get the price swings, but you also won't get the upside as well. And so, yeah. All right, I want to move on here. I want to talk a little bit about this. It's from Nansen.com, or excuse me, Nansen.ai. These are chains, and I've got it sorted by active addresses. Hyper-EVM, or Hyper-EVM, or Hyperliquid continues to be number one over the last 7 days. And of course, my keypad's not working. Over the last 7 days, there we go. In terms of active addresses, up 211%. Number 2 is Mantle, which is an L2 for ETH. And number 3 is AVAX and the Unichain Aptos Ton. Ton is one that I've said I think is undervalued. It's currently sitting at, and I think Ton is right where I identified my discount zone for Ton. I could have swore I had some. I guess I didn't have any for Ton. Okay, so let's identify some discount zones or value areas for Ton coin. Okay, so this is Ton on the monthly, and this is kind of my process of how I do this. I start in the highest time frame possible, which not enough data, a little bit better data. I like the monthly. It looks good. I say, okay, just from a eye perspective, right? This is kind of where I'm looking at for value area of Ton coin, okay? So now I have this level, then I'll work my way down to the lower time frame. Look at the weekly time frame. Is there any other level that I believe is a value area? And you can either extend this one down. We can extend this one down here, or we can just create another small one. We'll just extend this one down here. So it's a pretty big range, right? $1.78 to around $3, $2.86 for Ton coin. And you just work your way down and you zoom out and take a look. How has price reacted in this value area? Lots of consolidation. We had a deviation below. Again, more consolidation. So essentially, from December of 2022 to February of 2024, Ton coin consolidated, and then it had this massive breakout from low to high of around 303%. And we've been trending down ever since. And we're back in this area again. And so could we see a scenario where Ton coin comes back into this region? Maybe we get a bounce here and eventually comes in here and just chop. Sure, it can. But guess what? You want to talk about accruing projects and coins and cryptocurrencies. You want to do it in times of accumulation, not accumulation. You want to do it in times of consolidation. When price consolidates, that is where you want to accumulate. And then you want to start distributing as we start hitting some highs. You start taking out some local highs. Maybe you use fib extensions. Maybe you look at like your 1618 levels or your 3618 levels. Whatever you like to do to measure. I know Magic likes to measure with extensions to the upside with the Fibonacci. I don't know. For me, if it's a brand new high, I just look at where the rest of the market is. How's Bitcoin performing? What's Bitcoin's dominance looking like? Is it starting to kick back up after it hit a low of, let's say, 38 to 42%? Then you can look at, okay, first big spill off, Did we take out the last high? We did. Okay, the relief rally is coming. The relief rally comes. Did we fail to make a new high? We did. Okay, expect more downside, and then you kind of adjust there. But Toncoin for me, the bet here on Toncoin is Telegram. Close to 1 billion users worldwide. And everything on Telegram as far as the play to earn games, anything relating to blockchain on Telegram, it is 100% all leveraged by the Ton blockchain. And so Toncoin is one that I've had my eye on. I've accumulated a little bit, not too much exposure on Toncoin, but it's worth a shot for me at least. I think the upside is high compared to where prices are currently. And then this one as well, this is the token screener again from Nansen. And this one I did RWA sector, and it is sorted by the amount of net flow. And so this one is a stable coin, but the two I want to kind of highlight, well, the one I wanted to highlight is Mantra. Mantra Ohm saw $26,000 in net flow. This is over the last 24 hours. So everything was going down, and Mantra continued to trend up in that key metric. And if you're not familiar, Mantra is an L1 specific to RWAs. And this thing had a long consolidation period. This was between November of last year to January of this year. So 2 months, a little over 2 months, we consolidated between $3.45 and $4.39. And guess what? You start accumulating at these levels, and then your breakout, you see a gain of 166%. Now, we could see a potential head and shoulders here on Mantra. Actually, yeah, we are seeing a head and shoulders here on Mantra. Ah, you guys see that? Make it a little clearer here. All right. Mantra. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And you know what? Let me do this. It's a little clearer because it draws our neckline for us. So we go shoulder, head, and then shoulder. And we are right. I know that's a super, super ugly head and shoulder pattern, but we're right at our neckline here, right? We're right at the tippy top, or at the very bottom of our neckline. I guess that looks a little better. And so typically these break to the downside. So you expect a move to break this neckline, which is currently exactly where the price is at $7 even. And if you want to measure the move as far as where price is going to go, where is trend line? Bam. You just measure the depth of your head, and then you're looking at a $5.73 Mantra. And if we drop a horizontal line there, you can see what is price done, and I'll get rid of this one. What is price done in this area before? $5.74, which would be our measured move break to the downside. Consolidation, resistance, support, and then we broke to that level. And so this might be a good trade right here, guys. Short Mantra, set your stop loss above this high here at $7.46. Have your TP a little bit above this $5.74 level, maybe around $5.98. And this would be a nice trade setup. But also on the flip side, you reverse this thing and you long the support at $5.74. Mantra's been one of the few altcoins that does not care what Bitcoin does. It does not care what ETH does. It does not care what the rest of the markets do. It has been just trending to the upside. So that is Mantra. I'm pretty bullish on it long term. I think RWA is going to be massive. I think that's going to be one of the 3 big narratives to really run. I believe it's going to be RWA, AI, and stable coins. And Mantra is top 5 when it comes to RWA plays. And at the top of that list, I have Ondo. And so something to note here as far as net flows. And then this one was interesting. Okay, protocol treasuries. Okay. Uniswap has the biggest treasury. But guess what? All of it's in their own token. Mantle, again, all of it is in their own token. Now, I know this is typically what you see, correct? And you look at Cardano, literally everything, but this treasury is now 100% community owned, right? With the Chang hard fork, the treasury came online. But you can just take a look at how much of each reserve of treasuries is outside of their own token. Now, typically, obviously, when a new project starts, 100% of their treasury is in their own token. And then the goal, the idea, what you want to see is you want to see them start to expand, use their tokens, swap it to Bitcoin, to stable coins, to maybe Ethereum, kind of de-risk themselves from their own token. So if something happens, they don't completely go broke. And so, yeah, just thought it was kind of interesting here. And so the number one is going to be Uniswap. So the top four are all Ethereum ecosystem plays. Uniswap, Mantle, Optimism, and ENS, Ethereum Name Service. Ethereum Foundation, though, 0 in its own token. Interesting. But it does have 539 in majors, including ETH. Okay, I see what they did there. They didn't count it twice. They counted it once, not twice. Okay. And so, yeah, just something interesting. Thought I'd share with you guys. And then I do want to share this as well. This was posted on Crypto Quant by Banker. Says the open interest decline and shifting sentiment signal potential opportunities. The cryptocurrency market is showing signs of turbulence with Bitcoin key metrics indicating shifts in the investor behavior and sentiment. The OI change, which is a measure of the total outstanding derivatives contracts, has declined significantly, dropping by over 14.5% on March 1st. Such a sharp reduction often signals a decrease in speculative activity and can present a strong buying opportunity during market dips, as it may indicate capitulation or a reset. Meanwhile, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index has dropped, and you can see here, it was down to 10. Crypto Fear and Greed Index was down to 10, and I believe it's currently sitting at like 15 or 20. And so this is an interesting chart. As you can see here, what Banker posted is when you see this deviation between OI and the price, these are typically buying opportunities, and you see by these yellow dots, and this is not an interactive chart. I can't zoom in, zoom out. Essentially a snapshot. But we see rallies out of Bitcoin, and so these are some metrics you want to look at as far as, hey, now a good opportunity to add to the bag, to exit, to enter, whatever. And this one as well, CME Futures Open Interest. We're seeing an uptick in longer-term expiries on futures. 6 month, 5 to 6 month, and 4 to 5 months have all gained. You can see going back to February 26th, and I'm just going to focus on the 6 month expiry. You had 23.89 million. The next day, 24.9 million. And then the next day, 26.13 million. And so investors are starting to feel more comfortable placing longer-term bets on the price of BTC. Now, this is just on the OI. This is not by expiry or anything else to take a look to see where people are entering. Are they entering calls or puts? And so just some stats, some numbers, some interesting stuff. All right, going to check in with the chat here. Look at RWA treasuries. I think I've looked at that before. What's a good spot for H-bar? 18 to 20 cents. Let me go back to my post here. I bought at 19 cents. And I'm referring to this Patreon post. I bought at 19 cents. That's where I bought Hedera. I think anything under 20 cents is a steal. And anything under, between 20 and 22 cents is a pretty good deal. So I hope that answers your question. Next TV. K. Diggins said, for false seconds that we're pricing Bitcoin and oil. That's funny. Hitting the like is like asking, hit the like, guys. Help us out here. Hit the like button. Go with what makes you happy. Okay. Are we going to be rich on Friday? Don't know. You haven't hit the like button. Friday's going to be a big day, man. I'm telling you. Friday's going to be a really big day. Expect volatility throughout the week. We have a Fed meeting. You know what? Now that I brought it up, let me see what the CME believes the Fed's going to do. Now with the new GDP data, the forecast coming out, what does the CME think the Fed is going to do? We're starting to see a little shift here, guys. Shifty shift. We were at 98%. 98%. Actually, here are the numbers. 96%. The week of February 24th. Okay, 96%. This is dropping to 91. So the CME is often right. Now, obviously, as we get closer to the FOMC date, as we get more data coming in, I think inflation numbers are coming out prior to, I want to give you guys any false info. Next, CPI print. No, dummy. When is the next one? Schedule of releases. Here we go. Let's see. You have March 12th. So 6 days before the Fed has their meeting, we see another CPI print. We'll have unemployment numbers. We have the GDP numbers. So what's the Fed going to do? I actually think we're going to get a rate cut. They've already talked about ending quantitative tightening and stop essentially selling off or letting assets expire off the Fed balance sheet. Could they start revamping quantitative easing? I don't know, but that's going to be a big catalyst on top of the announcements that are going to come on Friday. The way I look at it is this. If they announce if they label the 5 projects, the Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, and Cardano as the 5 in the strategic reserve, they left it kind of open as far as other valuable cryptocurrencies or however the vernacular was there. What else are they planning on sharing or talking about? I think no cap gains tax is going to be a big one. And so if that happens and that actually gets passed, that's going to be a massive catalyst for prices of crypto. Bitcoin daily bull dip if it goes 73K, maybe. Let me take a look. Bitcoin bullish divergence if it goes to 73K. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, here's kind of what I'm looking at. Right, you're talking about the daily, right? Bitcoin daily bullish div if it goes down to 73. I mean, sure, but you want to see how low the RSI gets. I mean, I don't know, unless you got some forecasting tool on measuring how RSI is going to land when it does get down to 73, because we're currently sitting at 85,251. But oh, look, we got a cup and handle on the RSI. So we had a bullish div on the 1 hour. Again, I kind of shared that earlier. That thing did break to the upside, but on the daily, not really seeing anything here. So, you know, someone said, LFG Mike, I still think Patreon should get color chat on YouTube. Is there a way to do that? Because I couldn't find a way to do that. If there is a way, I'd love to do that. I'm all about giving recognition to people who support this channel. And so, yeah, we're only getting a rate cut if we reach 100 likes tonight. That's interesting there, K Diggity. Why would they do a rate cut? Okay. Inflation's down. Of course, another number. Unemployment's going up. They're cutting people from the government, the public sector. GDP is showing forecast negative 2.8%. Banks are fucked. Excuse my language. Banks are completely screwed. The reverse repo is dry. Liquidity's dry. Mortgage rates won't come down. I don't know. I think it's time for, Jerome Powell. Those are the things they look at, right? If inflation is low and unemployment is high and GDP is looking to retract, it's almost like the perfect scenario, macro scenario to cut interest rates. So, yeah. All right, guys, that'll do it for the show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Po-Man, we can't do that. That's directly through YouTube as far as the membership stuff. We can't, the only thing we can change as far as people's names and their colors is making them a mod. Everything else, if you want to become a member, you got to do it through YouTube. We can't, we have no control over that. So that's all YouTube, my friend. But if I could, I would, trust me. Either way, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you enjoy the content. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and come back tomorrow for the morning live show. We're covering more news-based topics and more opinions with my co-host, Rob. So with that being said, guys, until tomorrow,